Hope you're all well. So we have reached the final day of this year's Royal Ascot Festival. It's Royal Ascot Saturday, the busiest day of the week. Lots to look at on Saturday. So with no further ado, let's take a look at a few picks we like the look of for this Saturday. Best of luck all. So we start on Saturday, 3:45. Really looking forward to this one. Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes, 6 furlongs. It's going to be pretty fast. It's a classy race, this one. Kinross and Millstream, top of the market. Both are on 5-1. Pretty wide open, you've got to be said about this race. And we like a couple of backable each way prices here. Firstly, Grey Horse. Should have been a ring. Really nice horse, this. Good performance back at York in May at the Dante Festival. That was in the Duke of Clipper Stakes. It was a Group 2, ran really well that day and was really unlucky not to win the race. Won by Millstream. Millstream winning on a photo finish. Then followed up at Curragh, 6 of 12 last time out. Not quite as good for Should Have Been a Ring, but it wasn't drawn particularly well. And just couldn't quite get into the race that day, but certainly feel he can bounce back and perform well at that type of price at 14-1, especially when you consider Millstream 5-1, beaten by a nose at York back in May, and 14-1, big difference in price there. So certainly feels like there's some value in it. Should Have Been a Ring. And the next one we like here in this race is Art Power. We know this horse can run well at Ascot. If you remember back to October last year, it was the British Champion Sprint Stakes, Group 1, and Art Power. Well, did Kinross 40-1 Art Power that day, beating Kinross. It was 5-4 that day, and again, that's why it feels like Art Power at 12-1. Bit of value there, most definitely. A couple of okay-ish runs so far this year. Last one over at Curragh. That was in the Greenland Stakes. It was Group 2, finishing 4th that day of 12. Didn't do anything particularly exciting that day. But certainly feel he's capable of coming back and producing something quite special at Ascot. So I do like the price of both these horses. I think there is some value there. Should Have Been a Ring and Art Power. Next, we move to the 5:05 on Saturday. Fascinating race, this one. 31 runners, 6 furlongs. It's the Workingham Stakes. This is wide open. You can make a case for quite a few horses in this race. There's several that looked reasonably well handicapped when I look through the card, and we're picking out 2 pretty big prices. The first one, Mum's Tipple. Never know quite what you're going to get from Mum's Tipple. Kind of very indifferent form, but has generally run quite well at Ascot. Last year in this race finished 4th. Decent run that day, 11-1. That was with Frankie on board, so we know very capable. And that was off a very similar weight, 9-2. Last year and 9-1 this year, and has always seemed to have done reasonably well as Ascot. Generally, obviously not every single time has done well at Ascot, but certainly has produced his better performances, I would say, at Ascot generally over the past couple of years. So Mum's Tipple 20-1. If you can get your 8 places, which I think some bookmakers are paying up to in this race, feel Mum's Tipple has a reasonable chance of outrunning those odds. Next, we're looking at Strike Red, another 20-1 shout here. Certainly feel he is reasonably well handicapped for this race. 9-2 he'll be carrying. Won a race at 9-5 last year over in Ireland. A reasonably decent run at Epsom back in the Tokyo Trophy handicap. That was earlier in June. A race won by Misty Gray, trained by Richard Fahey. Sheen Orr will take the ride. It looks like So Strike Red, certainly feel at 20 to 1 you can outrun those odds. So next on Saturday we move to the 540, another big handicap, Golden Gate Stakes over 1 mile 2, Class 2, 19 runners expected for this one. Hand of God heads the field 3 to 1, trained by Harry Charlton. Seems pretty skinny, Hand of God, at that type of price, so we like a couple at bigger prices. Firstly, 10 to 1, Portsmouth. Has had a decent year in terms of results, a couple of good seconds and a win back in April. Seems reasonably well handicapped for this race. Of course, a much tougher race for Portsmouth, this one, but given that type of price and given some extra places available for this race, I do like Portsmouth's chances to at least hit the frame. Certainly feel every chance of outrunning those odds. And then another one, a really big price here. This one, Whiskey Pete, needs to bounce back. A couple of poor performances so far this year. Well, mid-division last time out, which wasn't too bad, I guess, at Epsom. Before that, pulled up at York. Something went wrong, obviously, that day. Yeah, was looking good last year. Nice win at York back in October. Decent third at Sandown Park in September. Looked to be really progressing, and then seems to have stalled a bit. This is going for slightly different distances. I guess was running over a mile last year, and a bit further now with the 1 mile 2 here this year, but certainly looked like there's some potential and some value in Whiskey Pete at 25 to 1. Certainly that's where I will be looking for this race. So best of luck if you're having a bet on the 540 on Saturday. Everyone watching, best of luck if you're having a bet this coming Saturday or any other day on the horses. We do love horse racing. Good to see quite a lot of people at Ascot this week. If you're going down, have a really good day. Love it down at Ascot. I'll be going to a race course very, very soon. See where I pop up. And lots to come over the summer, isn't it? We've got Goodwood to come, Galway to come, York Ebor, St Leger later on in the year as well. So lots of interesting racing. Once again, best of luck to you all, and speak again soon.